Hi guys, Rusty here with the Rustic Handyman, and I'm going to show you today how to change out a sump pump. Yesterday when I was eating lunch getting ready to go to work, I heard my sump pump alarm going off. Let me explain what that looks like. This is my sump pump. I opened up the lid here, and I have a box here. Can't remember what the brand is on this, but basically it runs a little wire sensor that sits down here, and when the level of the water runs up and connects those two connections, it goes off, so that you know you got something wrong with your sump pump. So I came down here and I messed with my sump pump a little bit, messed with the float switch, try to see what was going on, and it wouldn't come on. The breaker's not tripped or anything like that. So I think my pump just might be bad. It's about probably close to 10 years old. I have a line coming from my water softener. I have this line here coming from this dehumidifier. I had a submersible pump that I dropped in here, hooked up the garden hose to it, and ran the line, the garden hose, right out the window there to pump this water out to get through the night. Thankfully, it wasn't raining or anything, so there wasn't a whole lot of water coming in here. So I'm gonna plug it back in this morning before I start and pump all that water out. And then I can show you how much rust is collected down here. I replaced my old water softener within the last couple years. It wasn't working very well, and I'm not sure if that's what created all my rust or if it's just normal accumulation over time. We're gonna get the water drained out, get the sump pump out, and clean some of that rust and sediment out of the bottom there to start new. This is a little submersible pump that I was using to drain out the sump pit, and my hose is screwed onto the top of it here. Handy way to save your basement. 1.6 horsepower submersible utility pump. So I have some water leaking out of here because this is a check valve that doesn't allow the water to drain back out of the pipe every time. And so I have a bunch of water up here that's gonna leak out. How a check valve works is basically there's a ball in here or some kind of mechanism that moves up and down, and when the water goes this way it opens up and then it doesn't allow the water to come back through here, so it keeps the water primed in the upper part. So now I can remove this lid. Alright, so I got everything undone. This cord's still attached to this PVC, but everything should come out. And that's what you're left with, an empty sump pit. And we'll pump that water out and clean that sludge out here in a minute. Alright, so I'm going to go ahead and plug this in and then we'll take a look at it. Okay, so how this works is when the water level goes up, this float's supposed to go up and activate this pump to come on. As you can see, this pump is not doing anything. So this is an extra one I had around, and I'm going to turn it on and show you the difference between one that is good and one that is bad. So this one has a different type of a float switch, so when this goes up, do you hear that? That's what this one should sound like when this comes up like this. So it's burnt up, and it could be from all the sediment and rust that it was sucking up, or it could be because there's no holes for anything to get in. Look how corroded and full that all those places. So something has caused this to get super corroded. If you guys have any suggestions how to keep a sump pit clean and free of all this, I would love to hear from you. I'm wondering if there's some kind of like iron out or something you can put in there to kind of keep this down from getting all this corrosion, because this didn't have very good flow. This is what it should look like. All those holes should be open, and obviously this one, you can't even hardly find the holes. That explains why my pump probably burned up. So we're gonna take all the piping off of this old one and try to put it on the new one and get this back together. This one just... Looks like we'll be taking a trip in town. So this fitting screws into the bottom here, and then it has a female connection for the pipe. But that didn't want to come out, so we're gonna have to get a new fitting for that. To reuse my old pipe, this height has to be the same, so it sits on the bottom, it's the same height. Obviously the size, has to be the same. The horsepower needs to be at least the same, otherwise it's not gonna line up and hook up correctly. So this one looks like it's an exact match. Pump looks brand new, but I'm gonna have to get a different fitting for this. All right, I got the new fitting. I'm gonna put some Teflon tape on these threads. It doesn't really matter that they leak because it's in the pit underwater, but I'm just hoping that helps maybe the fitting to come out down the road better. I got my fitting in. I am going to cut a section of this off to fit this fitting in here, because down the road I'm going to put in a battery backup sump pump, so when the power goes out, instead of just an alarm, it'll be able to pump it out until I get it fixed, or realize that the power's out and the pump's not running. So we're going to put this fitting in between here so that in the future we can just tie into it. Until I get the other battery operated sump pump in, I'm going to actually just put a short little piece on here and cap it off, so that when I get the other system in, I can just uncap it, cut it to length, and we're good to go. I just realized when I went to put this back in that I can't get it through my lid unless I put a splice in here. So we're going to put another splice right here, which should be right above the lid. All right, some water's accumulated back in the bottom of the sump pit while I was working on that new pump. So I'm gonna pump the water out before we start. Oh my word. That's a lot of stuff. I'm thinking just... We've been trying to clean some of this, I'm not even sure what it is, that was collected on the bottom there. And it smelled like cat pee. It's a really nasty smell. Maybe that's not the nicest way to describe it. So I think what happened is this has got some kind of bacteria growing in it, which has caused this nasty smell and this rust looking stuff. And I'm not sure if that's what made my pump go bad or not. But I don't think there's anything big enough in there that's going to cause the new pump to go bad, so I'm going to go ahead and drop the new pump in. I'm probably going to either put some chlorine or research it and see what other kind of chemicals I can put in here to clean this up, and use the water that's coming into here to flush this all out, because it's pretty near impossible to get it scooped out. It's this real smushy. I think I have a flat stone in there at the bottom, and there's probably some edges I'm not even going to be able to get to, so I think the best way to do is just kind of let it work itself out with some chemicals. I'm going to zip tie these lines out of the way so it doesn't get in the way of the float. I'll feed all my lines through the holes in the lid. And this little alarm that I have, I'm also have to get through at this point. Feed my water softener back through here and my dehumidifier. Now I'm going to zip tie my sensor at the height that I want it to go off if this happens again where my pump goes out. So when the water gets up to that, that alarm should go off. Put our check valve back together. And connect our splice. And I'm going to check this splice just to make sure. That should be all there is to it. I'm going to remount this my little alarm here. It has saved us a couple times already. Cheap insurance. So for now, that's what we're gonna leave it. Everything's back together. Should be good to go. So I hope you got some helpful stuff out of this video if you have to deal with your sump pump going out or just replacement, repair, upgrade, whatever. Till next time, good luck with all your projects.